Hey YouTube, welcome back. Today we'll continue our series in NestJS fundamental. Today we'll talk about controllers, yeah, it will be. I hope it will be quick video. Maybe it will be because we have a lot of things to cover in the controllers. I guess it will be quite long video. So let's start with the controllers. What are the controllers? The controllers are responsible for handling incoming requests and returning responses. As simple as that. So the client will send an HTTP request to the controller. The controller will try to connect to send the request to will try to fire some providers or services. The services will send back a value to the controller, and the controller will send the value back to the client. So a controller's purpose is to receive specific requests from the application. The routing mechanism controls which controller receives which request frequently. Each controller has more than one route, and different routes can perform different actions. In other order, to create a basic controller, we use classes and decorators. Decorators associate classes with required metadata and enable Nest to create a routing map. So let's just try to create a controller. So let's create here in the source. Everything starts with the source. So I'll create a controller. I will call it cats. So cats.controller.ts. Controller.ts. Okay. Inside the cats, I will import the controller. Controller from NestJS, and I will import something I call get, and we will know what this one means. So I will add the controller, add controllers, and I will say export class cats controller. It will be get find all. It will be find all. It will return a string and return this action, return all cats. Okay, so let's assume it like that. So let's just try to say what we have done here. So the get is the HTTP, the get HTTP request method decorator before the find all method tells this one. Before the find all method tells NestJS to create a handler for specific endpoint for HTTP request. The endpoint corresponds to the HTTP request method, which is get in this case, and the route path. What is the route path? The route path for a handler is determined by the concatenating or the optional prefix declared for the controller and any path specific in the method's decorator. Like, since we have declared a prefix for every route we call cats, this is the prefix, so and haven't added any path information in the decorator, Nest will map get to cat. So it will be a get request to cats. It will be something like that. As mentioned, the path includes both optional controller path prefix and any path string declared in the request method decorator. For example, a path of prefix cat combined with decorator get. For example, can have get breed, and it would produce a route map for the get request. So if I add something we called breed, it will be get cats breed, for example. So in our example, this one, when a get request is mapped is made to this endpoint, Nest routes the request to our user defined, which is find all. This one, the find all method. Note that the method name we choose here is completely arbitrary. Like, we can just find alls or find I can do whatever I want here. We obviously must declare a method to bind the route to but Nest doesn't attach any significance to the method's name chosen. This method will return 200 code status and the associated response which in this case is just a string. Why does that happen? This is quite important to understand why that happen and how this work. So to explain, we will first introduce the concept that Nest employs two different options for manipulating responses. We have the standard one, which is the quite recommended, which will be using this built-in method. When a request handler returns a JavaScript object or array, it will automatically be serialized to JSON when it returns a JavaScript primitive type like string, number, boolean. However, Nest will send just a value without attempting to serialize this. This makes the response handled simple, just return the value, and Nest takes care of the rest. Furthermore, the response status code is always 200 by default. Expect for both requests it will be 201. We can easily change this behavior by adding HTTP code if we want. The decorator at the handler. We have other way, which is library specific. Like we can use a library specific express response object, which can inject using the res decorator in this method handler signature, like find all. We have res and response. With this approach, you can have ability to use native response handling methods exposed by the object. For example, with Express, you can construct response within using the code like response.status.send, something like that. So let's see how we can do this one. So let's just import the request object. So let me open the request object. It's called like that, right? Yeah, it's like that. And I will import request from Express. That's right. So handlers often need access to the client request details. Like Nest provides access to the request object of the underlying platform, which is Express by default. We can access the request object by structuring Nest to inject it by adding the rec decorator to the handler signature. So, for example, we have the request here. So I will say find all. I will have access to the rec. So give me access to the rec, and rec it will be request, and the request I expect it to be. And I guess I typed the rec wrong. Yeah, I give it a type to be the request here. So okay. So the request object represents the HTTP request and has properties for the request query string, parameters, HTTP headers, and body, and even more. In most cases, it's not necessary to grab these properties manually. We can use detected decorators instead, such as body, query, and which are available out of the box. And let's just see how we can use them. So we have a body. So we have something called body. We have query. We have also we have next. We have session, and we have, I guess we have much more. We have like the host param, we have the headers. You can access tons of stuff. It's not just like, although you know that you can access everything from the request, but know that you can just access it also from NestJS by default. So let's talk about the resources. So let's talk about the resources. So let's say that, okay, let's just delete all of that. I guess get request, and let's delete that also, because we don't need all of that, because I guess I need to add a post here. So we handle the post routes. So Ariel, we defined endpoint to fetch cats with the get route. Right now, we will typically also want to provide an endpoint that creates new records. For this one, let's create a post handler. So what we do here, let's say we have a get handler. I will create a post handler, but I guess the post handler, I prefer to put the post handler first. And yeah, and post handler, I will put create. It will return a string, and I'll say this is action adds a new cat, and that's it. And it's that simple, to be honest. Nest provides decorators for all of the standard HTTP methods like get, post, put, delete, patch options, and head. Everything we have, and we have also all, and we have we have everything that we need. Let's see about the to route wildcards, like pattern, like we can route like pattern based routes are supported as well. Like for instance, the asterisk is used as a wildcard and will match my combination of character, for example. So if I wanted to say get for example AB star CD, for example, like the AB star CD route path will match ABCD, AB, it will match like ABCD, it will match also ABCD slash, it will match also ABC, it will match that also. So basically and so on, the characters we have maybe like other characters like this, and plus, and the star, and the star, and maybe this. So these characters may be used in route path and are subset of their regular expression counter. The hyphen and the dot are interpreted literally by string based path. Sorry, I love drinking tea while teaching. So let's talk about the status code. So we could have like HTTP. Let's just add it here. And we can see at the HTTP status code, it will be like 204. So as mentioned, the response code was always 200. By default, expect for the post, they are 201. We can easily change this behavior by adding the HTTP code decorator to handle in the handle 11. Often your status code isn't static but depends on various factors. In that case, you can use the library specific response, like the inject using for the res object. You have access to it, or in a case of an error, you can throw an expectation. We have to talk about the headers. So in this one, in the headers that you can add, like for example headers, you can add cache control and none, for example. What's going on? Cache control and none. What is the problem? Did I delete something and I didn't know? Header, not headers, header. Oh, sorry. So for example, let's just add header, and it will be like a cache control and none. Like in this one, you to specify custom headers, like you can either use a header declarator or library specific response, like res.header directly. We have the redirection, like to redirect response to a specific URL. You can either use the redirected decorator or a library specific object, which is res.redirect. The redirect, it will be like let's see that we have the get. Let me copy this because I'm not that good in type the redirect. So let's see that we have here the get, I should like redirect at, for example, it will be something like that. Sometimes you may want to determine the HTTP status code or redirect URL dynamically. Do you do this by like returning an object with the HTTP required response, for example. The return values will override any arguments passed to the redirect. For example, if you have like let's take an example here. For example, if you have this one, let's have the query. Basically, if you have this one, as you can see here, the parameters version implicitly has been any. Okay, it's something different. So basically, as this example, I would say that return values will override any arguments based on the redirected directory for the. And this is example for it. So let's go back. Let's talk about the route parameters. The routes. Routes with a static path won't work when you need to accept the dynamic data as part of the request. The get cats, for example, if let's say that I want to get one, let's say that I will get I want to get one cat. So I'll say that, for example, get ID. This is a route parameter. This is dynamic data. So I could like find one. It will be return string, and I will return. So yeah, but I guess it would be better. And I will access, I guess, the param, like add, and it will be param, and it will be any, and I will say it will return a string, and it will be, it's a param or params? It's a parameter, so it's a bparams, bparams.id, and the param y. Why it's wrong? Give me a minute. Let's just try to do it like that. Ah, okay, that's right. That's right. Okay, so let's say that the routes with static path, as you can see here. Let's just put him. So the routes with static path won't work when you need to accept dynamic data as part of the request for get cats /1. That means I want the cats and the ID was 1. In order to define routes with parameters, we can add route parameters token in the path of the route to capture the dynamic value at the position in the request URL. The route parameters token is in the get decorator example below. As you can see here, this example. As you can see, this is how we can add a dynamic routing. So the param is used to decorate the method parameter, which is params in this example that you can see here, and makes the route parameters available as properties of that decorator method. And the decorator method parameter inside the body of the method as seen sorry back yeah, as seen in the code. As you can see here, we can access the ID parameters by referring the params.id. You can also pass in a particular parameter token to the decorator and then reference the route parameter directly by name in the method body. So yeah. Also, you can make it like a we can make it something even better. So we can have like params ID. So I can say ID directly, and it's a string, and I do not need params anymore, and it will work perfectly fine. Let's talk about the subdomain routing. So the controller decorator can take host options to require that the HTTP host of the incoming request matches a specific value. So let's see that if we want some host. So we have we create the controller here, which we call cats. You can play with the like, you can play with it, like let's see this example here. So you can do something like that. So basically right now you make sure that like in this example here, we make sure that only this host is allowed. So for example, like this one, the creator take a host options to require that the HTTP host of the incoming request matches some specific values. To get similar, like similar to a route path, the route host option can use token to capture the dynamic values at the position in the host name, the host parameter token in the controller decorator example, as the example that I will show you right now. For example, if we have this one here, let's say that in this one here, let's have host prem. As you can, this one here, like the host parameters declared in this way, we can can be accessed using the host param, the host param decorator, which should be added to the method signature. Let's talk about the scopes. So for people coming from different programming languages backgrounds, it might be unexpected to learn that NestJS almost everything is shared across incoming request. We have a connection pool to the database, singleton services with a global state, etc. Remember that Node.js doesn't follow the request response multi-thread stateless model, in which every request is processed by a separate thread. Hence, using a singleton instance is fully safe for our application. However, there are some edge cases when the request-based lifetime of the controller may be desired behavior. For instance, per request caching in GraphQL application, request tracking, or multi-tendency. We could talk about that in the future. In terms of the asynchronicity, so we love modern JavaScript, and we know that data extraction is mostly asynchronous. That's why NestJS supports and works with the async function. So we have the async await. So for example, we can have like let's say that, let's delete this one. So if the find all, we can make sure that it's asynchronous. So we can have like it's a promise, like the find all, where the find all, it's will promise will return any, and we could return array here to make sure that we have asynchronous. Yeah. Give me a minute. Let me just. It's not async. Let me just make it asynchronous. No. It's even worse. Yeah. So every async function has to return a promise. This means that you can return a deferred value that Nest will be able to resolve by itself. So this is an example. This is an example that you can see here. This code is fully valid. Furthermore, we can add something. We can use the NestJS route handler, or even more powerful, by using by able to return RxJS, which is observable stream. Nest will automatically subscribe to the source, and like for example here, let's say that we'll do it like that. For example, it will be something like that. So basically, this in both approaches will work, but I guess this is the more standard. So I prefer this way better. Let's talk about the request payload. Let me just drink some tea. I love tea. You should love teas too. You know? Tea is for Go people. Go people love tea. In terms of the request payload, like our previous example of the post route handle didn't accept any client params. So let's fix this by adding a body decorator. So let's have let's add this one. So but first, before I add the body decorators, if we are using TypeScript, we need to determine the DTO, which is data transfer object schema. A DTO is an object that defines how the data will be sent over the network. We could determine the DTO schema by using TypeScript interfaces or by simple classes. Interestingly, we recommended using classes. And why classes? Because mostly it will be interfaces work, but because classes are part of the JavaScript E6 standard, and therefore they are preversed as a real entity in the compiled JavaScript. On the other hand, since TypeScript interfaces are removed during the transpilation, Nest can't refer to them at runtime. So this is important because the features such as pipes enable addition possibilities when they have access to the meta type of at variable runtime. So let's just create a new file here to DTO. So we say, as we said before, the DTO is short for data transfer object, and we will create a class here. So let's see that the cat, we create a DTO for the cat. We have three basic properties. Therefore, we can use a newly created DTO inside the controller here. So let's go to the app controller. We cat controller. So let's just add this one to let's go back here and let's go here. So let's just try here to work here, and let's just try to see what we do. So we will add the body. Can I implement create DTO? Okay. If you wonder how I did that, you could go to extensions, and there's an extension called auto import. It will do this for you. It will save your time. So we could use the body, and we assign to it the DTO. So the asynchronous. So yeah, and yeah, that's it. So in terms of handling errors, we will we will make a specific videos on how to handle errors, and how the errors works. We'll make a specific videos because it's just a huge section. So let's talk about the for resource sample. So let's just try to copy everything here so for us to see, and let's try to discuss it. There is a problem. Where is the problem? Let's and let's add the app module. We have some problem here. Create DTO, and let's call it DTO. Okay. DTO. Okay. And okay, so let's continue here. So let's just getting to run this app. or yeah, let's try to create here. Yeah, that's great, that's great, that's great, that's great, that's great. DTO, everything looks fine, everything looks fine. We have the find all, we have the find one, we have one for the update, we use the params, we have one to the delete, we use the params as well. If we want to continue with just getting to run it, so we will do is to something that I would love to do. I will add something I call cats, and I will put this into here. Move, yes, and I will have the DTO. I will add the DTO here. I'll move it, and yes, and yeah, everything looks fine here. And I'll try to import. So if you want to get it right, like with this controller, we defined it fully. We should define, I guess, let's update DTO and list all entities. I guess they should be the same. And also this one should be the same, nice, right? Yeah. Let's call element. It will be number. Let's just deal with that like in this way. So in terms of make this one works in the best way possible, to run this one, we will go with this one. We go to first. The controllers are always belong to a module, which is the way we include the controllers array within the module decorator. So we will import first let's go to the modules, add the modules.ts, and we import the cat controller to the controllers here, and delete the app controller, and that's it, like that. Do we need to have providers? I guess no. Let's just keep it like that. We will talk about the providers in the upcoming videos. So by this way, we attach the metadata to the module class using the module decorator, and the NestJS can easily right now reflect which controllers have been mounted. We can have a library specific approach, but it's I guess it will be out of the scope right now. But this is all you need to know about the controller, and this is all you have. It's a pretty simple, pretty basic. Feel free to go to the documentation, because everything that I have said, it was written in the documentation. So feel free to go to the documentation and try to read and try to know more about each method here, and try to create your own CRUD system in the controller. And after that, in the next video, we'll talk about the providers, and after that we'll talk about the actual modules, and so on and so forth. So that's it for today's video. If you like my content, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a video, and see you in future problem.